Investigations into the elementary school mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas are ongoing. Authorities are now trying to piece together what happened in the lead up to the attack. So joining me now for more is CBS News senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge. Hi, Catherine. I know you've been on this story since it broke. What is the priority right now of this investigation?
Caitlin, based on our reporting here at CBS News, there are two main priorities for local and federal investigators: building a profile of the shooter, and second, developing this timeline. And in the last couple of hours, law enforcement sources have told CBS News that they've confirmed there was a fight or confrontation between the shooter and his grandmother just before the attack at the elementary school. And the preliminary evidence indicates the fight was over who would pay a cell phone bill. They're trying to determine whether this was the trigger for the attack at the elementary school, but that review is ongoing. So think of this timeline as a giant mosaic. They're taking different pieces of intelligence, whether it's the information about the fight, social media, also the suspect's email, texting traffic, and they're marrying that up with surveillance videos so they get the most fulsome picture of what happened at the school, but more specifically, the events leading up to the attack and the frame of mind of the shooter and other individuals that they may be involved with or communicating with. Caitlin.
And Catherine, was he known at all to local or federal authorities before the attack?
Federal law enforcement has done what they call a scrub of these national criminal databases, and what we're told here at CBS News is that they had no hits, they had no pings, no red flags, so he was not known to federal authorities. And that really mirrors what we heard at the news conference from Texas authorities, that they weren't aware of any criminal history, sort of mental health reporting. And the reason all of that matters is that when you have these red flags, it can be an opportunity for a family member, for a friend, for a colleague, or even for law enforcement to intervene. And that did not happen in this case. It's also important to look at this data point in the middle of May when these weapons were purchased, as well as the ammunition. That's where the ATF has come in, helping to track those weapons and to confirm that they were purchased legally. That data point matters on the timeline because the question is whether there was an event that precipitated those purchases and whether the purchases in mid-May are really strong evidence of premeditation in this case, right? So they can see that, whether it marries up with other elements of his electronic traffic with individuals or even just in his own postings.
A lot of data to piece together to get a bigger picture. We heard from FBI Director Wray. He addressed this issue earlier today. Let's take a listen.
Unfortunately, this tragedy, as well as the recent tragedy in Buffalo and way too many before, reinforce what we in the FBI have been so concerned about for so long, and that is the threat of lone actors who look to attack regular everyday people going about their regular, everyday lives. And in fact, it's that threat that we continue to be most concerned about here in the homeland. And while it is too soon to be commenting on the motivation behind yesterday's tragedy, and I don't want to get out ahead of Texas DPS, which has the lead on that, as the horrific attack a little over a week ago in Buffalo shows, we've got to continue to stay laser focused on our efforts to counter violence motivated by hate and extremism.
So, Catherine, what more can you tell us about these lone actors? What is this threat?
Well, in recent weeks, we've been able to review at CBS News a number of law enforcement bulletins, also what they call situational awareness reports that provide information and intelligence to state and local law enforcement. And it's talked about a spike in activity by domestic violent extremists and especially what they call lone actors that the FBI director was referring to. That's law enforcement speak. What it means in layman's terms is that they're talking about people who aren't proud of broader conspiracies. So they're not talking to other people. They're not plotting with other people. And those are opportunities for law enforcement to intervene, to capture those communications. And the other thing that's a signature or hallmark of a lone actor is that there's usually a very quick, what they call flash to bang. And what that means is that once they make a decision to launch an attack of violence, it happens very quickly. So there isn't that opportunity for a friend, a family member, or for law enforcement to really be able to get in between them and that violent act and to tamp it down and to stop it. So the lone actor, I can't emphasize enough in the bulletins that we've seen, what we heard from Director Wray, this really is the tip of the spear and the leading edge for law enforcement as we head into these hot summer months.
The investigation in this continues. Catherine Herridge, thank you so much for breaking that down for us.